Hello, beautiful souls. This is Sadhana. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another deck pairing video. Today we are going to look, the first deck we're going to look at is the Ember and Aura Tarot by Jamie Richardson. This is the second edition called the Awakening Edition. It comes with pink metallic sides. I'll show you afterwards. I wanted to read you just a little bit from the opening words from her guidebook, from the letter from the artist. This tarot deck is for anyone and everyone who is seeking deeper union with our divine source. Originally composed of 78 brush and ink paintings, it pays special honor to the sacred feminine and her return to our collective consciousness. I have added a 79th card for my second edition this year. I'll read you a little bit more, but I just wanted to turn over a couple of cards. This deck is also a love letter to the feminine human spirit, and she is shown in all her glorious diversity. Women of all races, shapes, and ages were the subject of my work. However, tarot is by no means limited to female seekers, and all genders who hear the call to read are welcome. In its images, you will find threads of different religions and traditions that have shaped me, including Christian mysticism, Gnosticism, and earth and goddess worship. I consider myself to be a student of life, not a teacher, and have channeled these images with love, admiration, and respect for all cultures. This deck came to me quite by accident. I happened to see it on somebody's social media post, and I was drawn to it immediately, and it just felt intuitively like it was a deck that I wanted to work with. And I don't have a lot of goddess decks, sacred feminine specific decks, but there was something about the artwork and the energy of the deck. And I want to speak to that. I spoke to it a little bit last night in my live. I have traveled many places in the world as a spiritual seeker, but not necessarily intentionally as a spiritual seeker. I've happened upon places and found myself in different situations where I have really been privileged to step into liminal space, and found that on my journeys, that away from my home, in my younger life especially, these kind of little portals opened up all over the place, and it was on these journeys that I really found peace and harmony and a real beauty in or an understanding of what spirituality means to me outside of any dogma or religion per se. And I feel very comfortable everywhere. So I just wanted to share that with you. This is amazing. Do you see this? I'm sure you've already seen this, how this beautiful light being here is perfectly reflected here. And we've got the light of the stars here and the light of the wands here. So what does this tell you about the light of the wands and the potential of the light of the wands? And how can we shift this card and all of this fire can be really, really intense, and it might have gotten out of balance, out of control. And so, but it also has potential. And so this, to me, in this particular reading, whatever the question was with the person, it's about that. It's about focusing less on what is right in front of you and looking at another layer underneath. And the Chariot card over on the left with the hands overhead is so powerful. It's like this gift. The Chariot is a gift. It's a gift. It's an opening. I've never gone in this direction before with the Chariot card, and never thought about the Chariot as a vehicle to enter through a portal. Whatever that means for you in your space and your time, but there's something really kind of magical and mystical about whatever it is I'm saying here, and the story that I just shared with you. I love that her braids are flying out to the side, if those are braids. They could also be, I mean, I'm just assuming they're braids, but I'm also looking at them. They kind of look like, like a lotus bead mala as well, too. Anyway, this deck is really special in the center, and I want to read you something also from Lucy Cavendish's words in the guidebook. The artwork is by Gilbert Williams. And so in the center we have kindred spirits, spirit companions, guides, and comfort, which really doesn't need any explanation. So beautiful. And this is what I'm talking about. It's about finding yourself in a space and giving yourself permission to be in a quiet space. And it does not have to be in a beautiful garden, but it does help. It does help to be in nature and to find that connection. So the yogic teachings that I am most closely living my life through is with the realization that all that is manifest is a representative of the sacred feminine, and all that is unmanifest is the sacred masculine. And so everything, whether it is in your apartment, in the city, the chair, the table, the bouquet of flowers, the scene that is through the window, is all sacred feminine energy. And so we can create this experience anywhere. Son of Coins. And really interesting, right? So this very kind of spiritual card looking to potentially what could be something more three-dimensional. And the Diviner of Cups. So I really feel there may be an internal conflict here between the material and the energetic. So the Suit of Cups is about the emotion, but remember, emotion is energy in motion, and we want to really kind of always embody that. The emotion is not necessarily connected to the heart space. It's about keeping energy moving through the body. And so it's really, really necessary to find this space and this time and to create this space so that we can resolve and we can find harmony and peace between these two energies. I think eventually I will do a full review of this deck. I have a lot more to say about it, and so yeah, you can look forward to that. Let me know if you want it sooner than later. I know it's been around for a while, and it just sort of came into my world. So really unusual Three of Swords, the way that it is drawn here. The way that it's almost as if this sword here is preventing, well, one thing, these also look like scissors, and these scissors are unable to cut this sword because the sword is so strong. But also you could look at it like this sword is preventing these two from closing. Again, I look to the pictures. Looking to the pictures really helps with the message. This sword, which is preventing these scissors from closing, is in the same position as the sword in the daughter over there. Look at the freedom in the daughter. So much freedom, and almost as if she's, she's freed her soul. Like it's so beautiful. So what do you feel when you see that Daughter of Swords? That's not just a straight up Page of Swords. There's something else going on there that's really beautiful. And this has something to do with being present, the gift of being present. And perhaps that freedom, we can find that freedom in the gift of being present. And that is also going to help us to move through any pain or conflict or There's so many different layers to the Three of Swords, so don't always go to the pain, but go a little bit deeper. So remember that you're in the suit of air and all that that could potentially represent. So explore the Three Swords. The Three Swords could also be a sacred connection of an air quality, an air element. Threes are a divine number. And then allow your mind to kind of wander with the shape of this sword and the shape of this sword. And is there something mirrored in either of these two pictures that reflects these scissors here? These are the kind of things I do. Let's do one more. And how about if I read you just a little bit from Lucy's guidebook? Oh, that's so beautiful. I also want to say that this deck with the Fularkos, which I haven't used it, I don't think artistically it's a great match, but energetically it's definitely going to be one that reads well with the Fularkos. Okay, so this is 27. 2 plus 7 equals 9. Celebration, peak, transcendent moment. I'll just read you a little bit. The time has come to celebrate an achievement, a moment of glory and beauty, to recognize the sublime blessing that is with you. It is time to set up an altar within the home, to sing the praises of the Spirit, to give thanks for all that you have. Look around and know that in every moment of gratitude lies a key which unlocks more gifts, that opens the gate and allows the awaiting treasure of life to find their way to you. It is time to build a temple to the fullness of your spirit. Just as this moon is full and the temple has been created to expand her energy and amplify it, so too when you build an altar or create a space within your life for gratitude, celebration, joy, glad union with others, the beauty of life grows more apparent, seems more present, and can be felt with every light tread of your feet upon the blessed earth. There's a whole other beautiful paragraph, and then there is a kind of a meditative little bit of poetry also. So the guidebook is beautiful. Lucy did a great job, as she always does with her guidebooks. So we have the Lover's card. Whoa, look at that. The sun and the moon reflected in the card in the center. I would say this is some kind of a, like if this was a romantic question, this is a big yes. This feels like a very spiritual energy. Sage of Wands. Maybe there's the minister. There's the person who's going to offer the wedding ceremony in the full moon temple. So the Sage of Wands is full of passion and full of experience. And I'll give you a little flavor too from the guidebook by Jamie. Having mastered the element of her own fire, she has achieved perfect balance. The seat of her very being is supported by higher realms, and the flow of her energy has become completely effortless. She is a compassionate and wise leader. Having achieved success through the survival of many trials, her ego has burned away, and she is in a perfect position of power. Successful, wise, and level-headed. So you know in your heart what the right decision here is, should this have come up for you. So I'm going to leave it with that. Let's go on to the next set of cards. The next pair of decks I'd like to look at today is the Earthly Souls and Spirits by Terry Ann Foss. This large version is no longer available. The deck is now available through Make Playing Cards, and I'll link that below in the description box. And you can get a glimpse of why I'm pairing these two decks together by looking at the backs of the Cheimonette Tarot with the artwork of this card. Their energy just matches really beautifully together. The Cheimonette Tarot is by Eden Gallanter, and it is definitely a deck of liminal spaces, deep reflection, inner work. And so look at the moon. The moon appears to be in a similar phase in the top of the card in the center and the card on the right. And there may be a challenge with authenticity, which is what this is about. 9 of Swords and 10 of Discs. Look also around the, I believe that's the King and the 10 of Discs. There's different players and different stories within these suits, so you get to know who the figures are in the cards. But look at all the moon cycles, the moons around. The discs actually look like moons. And so I'm linking these 3 cards with the moon energy. And there's definitely a sense of being overwhelmed. And what perhaps has happened is in our busyness, or in the busyness of our mind. So the 10 of Discs would be the actual physical busyness of the day-to-day activities and thinking we have to do what we have to do. The 9 of Swords, more the busyness of the mind. And so what we have forgotten is actually who we are. And that is the reminder of the card in the center. At least that's one potential interpretation. Love. Looks a bit like a 3 of Cups card. I have not hit. I do have the smaller version of the deck in my cart in Make Playing Cards, and I would love to have it just for its size. But the artwork is absolutely gorgeous in these larger cards. Ooh, look at this. So the Hermit, the Time card, is facing towards love. And so what does that mean, and how does that come up in the reading with the question? Perhaps the time for retreat is over and you're ready to engage and ready to be with people. And I love in these 2 decks how there's so much moon imagery throughout both of these decks, and it really speaks together. The Prince of Swords is also facing, so that the Hermit is moving into love, the Prince of Swords is facing away. So we would really need to look at the question that was asked and bring in the energy of that. So the Prince of Swords, if that's actually a player or a character in the story of the querent, we can bring that in, but also the rational mind, or perhaps the Prince of Swords is a bit of a rookie as far as that goes. The Prince of Swords might be tired of talking. So that's why the Prince of Swords is moving out of the picture. But the Hermit is moving into the picture. So these are all things that I would bring into the reading. But the time is for connection. Definitely this is a time for connection. So that's a loud message that I would definitely share with the querent. Relax. I am going to use this deck with another pair, if not in this video, in the next video, so you'll get to see several cards from Terry Ann's deck. Look to the owl. The witch is reading a book. There's candles around, flowers. So allow whatever needs to come forth for you to come forth in the center card. And then we have 5 of Discs. And so try not to race to your general association with the 5 of Discs. See if there's something else that's coming up. Wheel. Look how this golden wheel is reflected right here in the moonlight. And the candles are reflecting in the moonlight. So how does this change? How does this all wheel through the reading here? And so we have this circle here, we have this circle here, and we have the circles of the 5 of Discs. So I would very gently start to tell that story. And the illustration in the 5 of Discs in the Cheimonette is quite something. And you can tell a lot by the way the artist has drawn these cards. It will help, with the question. And I'm not sure if I said that clearly or not. The reason that you chose this deck on this particular day and this Five of Discs came up, not a church window and somebody in the snow outside a church window, is because there's something about this particular artwork that's going to really help the querent. That's what I want to say. All right, so let's put another deck in the center here. And this is a deck I've used many times before. I'm just going to cut it. And this is pretty much a standard deck that I have out. It pairs really well with lots of different mysterious, shadowy kind of decks. And I've shown it recently, so I'm not going to do, I'll just do one card here for you. So the Magician. And one of the things I like about Flowers of the Night is that the medicine is like Sherilyn, I'm sorry, is that her name? Sherilyn does a good job in the guidebook, and perhaps I'll actually read for you. So we have the Magician with intention, and that seems to be pretty powerful. And the Hanged Man. Ooh, so on either side of intention, the Chinese Star Jasmine, we have two pretty powerful cards. One that is wanting to pause and one that's wanting to act. And intention is definitely a stepping forth with action. So why is the Hanged Man there? What is holding up the querent? So let's have a look at the description of the Chinese Star Jasmine and intention in the guidebook. The oil extracted from the Chinese Star Jasmine is very popular with high-end perfumery houses and is used in incense throughout Asia. And the pygmy slow loris, the animal on the left, has a toxic bite which they use as protection, and unlike other primates, they crawl rather than leap. Sometimes there's words there that are going to help with the reading. Time to review your true purpose in relation to the matter at hand. This will assist you in seeing the possible silver lining, or at least new possibilities, which will still give you a positive direction and will eventually match your original intentions. The intentions of those around you also need to be explored. You would be wise to make sure you truly understand the people around you and their effects on the present as well as the immediate past. You may be satisfied with what you currently enjoy, but there is a part of you that longs for more. Before stepping forward, it would be wise to refocus your intentions and look within. Okay, so like I said, there's a reason this card is here. So the Hanged Man is encouraging the Magician just to slow down for a moment. You have all the tools. You know where you're going. You know where you want to go, but there's a reason just to hang back and to take a moment. Okay. Celebration. Casablanca lily. I love that flower. Love. Wow. Beautiful. It's almost like, do you see the shooting star at the top of the card? Celebration. I almost don't want to draw. I almost don't want to turn over this card here. Ace of Discs. That's beautiful. So this reading is about a strong foundation, a new beginning and a potential. It's a big, big yes reading for moving into right relationship, whether that is with love or another aspect of your life. But those three cards work so beautifully together. And the last combo we will look at today is with Sandra Kunz's deck. And Sandra's deck also is a watercolor based deck. Lots of line, like ink drawing as well too. Sandra's deck is so connected. I'm just going to show you a few of the cards. A message of love. I've done early on, I think one of the first videos I did was of a walkthrough of this deck. And there are an abundance of crows in this deck. This is one of my favorite decks to pair with the Crow Tarot community. Sandra's based in Edmonton. Trust yourself. And this is not a deck that I have ever used with the Cheimonette before, but one of the cards was sitting out on my table, and I just thought I wanted to look at this and see if it's going to work. So this is kind of I'm just playing around here. So I'm just going to shuffle the remaining cards, and then we'll do one here just to see if a good combo comes up. Because I really like Sandra's deck, and no. I'm going to say this is a no. I wanted to show you the kind of card that I was looking at, that was staring at me. And I guess it just, so this is one of them. So I thought this would look really beautiful with the Cheimonette. And even this one. And the other one that I was staring at was this one, the Illusionist. So yeah, it was a good idea. So this is, I guess I'm going to leave this in. I'm not going to edit this out. This is part of my process of seeing whether a deck is going to work together. And sometimes you have a really good idea, like, ooh, yeah, those two decks would look great together. But then you realize a few of the cards are probably going to work, but not a lot. So because of the color clash, or you just had an idea and then the idea isn't really quite right. So these three look good together because this is one of the three cards I was staring at. Prince of Swords. Yeah, that's too bad because I thought they would. And for sure, the cards that I'm showing you here are good, but not enough in this deck. Ooh, look at the color of her hair with the color of the insect. Is that a moth? Not really sure. I have to look to the guidebook. But that's an awesome combination. Okay, and let's just look at this one, just because. Love the self-love card. Aw. And that's pretty powerful medicine for the Prince of Cups here, who doesn't want to stay still. Wow. Okay. Self-love, in between a 9 of Discs, who's looking in the opposite direction, and also Prince of Cups is looking in the opposite direction. And I have a really sad message coming through, and one of the first things I went to was, oh my God, like I don't even want to say it out loud. I was thinking of cutting, and whether cutting is a metaphor or cutting is actually cutting and self-harm. All right, let's shuffle the whole deck and see if I'm wrong. Okay, I meant if I'm wrong in regards to these two decks potentially working really well together, not with my last comment. So here is card of balance. 10 of staves. We do have a color playing off each other here with the orange. So this is, I guess, representing a flower. And then over here on the left, we have Justice. Whoa, okay, so I don't know, folks. I'm going to let you be the judge of that. It appears like this is a particular, so I shuffled the whole deck, and this is the card we drew for this particular reading, and it appears that it's working together. But like I said, not all of the artwork in the messenger cards is going to be a great match for the Cheimonette, but some of them are really, really beautiful. So thank you. Thank you for joining me today as I go through this process, and let me know what you think of these combinations. And I look forward to chatting with you in the comments below. Stay well. Namaste.